Hi guys, welcome back. MixWix here. Today we're going to go over lesson 1-3, properties of numbers. We're going to make it real quick. There's just a couple things in this chapter that we need to know, but I don't think we need to spend a lot of time going over it. So I'm going to go through and explain it to you real quickly here. So in the past, like in the past couple weeks, you've used orders of operations to simplify expressions. Today, what we want you to do is be able to recognize the properties of equality and identity properties and recognize the commutative and associative properties. So these are things you're already doing, you just don't know you're doing them. So what I'm going to do today is just point out quickly what they are, and I'm going to give you a chart of what they are, and then all you have to do is continue to solve to use the order of operations to simplify expressions as you have in the past, and then just label what you've been doing using the chart. So why do we need to do this? Natalie lives 32 miles away from the mall. The distance from her house to the mall is the same as the distance from the mall to her house. This is an example of reflexive property. So it's simple things like that, like from your house to the school is the same distance from the school to your house. They take the same amount of time, they mean the same thing essentially. It's just kind of reflexive backwards, like a mirror image of each other. And I'll go on and explain that as we go on. Okay, here's our first chart. So here's reflexive property that I was just talking about. A quantity is equal to itself. For any number A is equal to A. That means that 5 is the same as 5, 4 plus 7 is the same as 4 plus 7. Symmetric property. If one quantity equals for a second quantity, then the second quantity equals the first. So for example, for any numbers A and B, if A equals B, then B is equal to A. That means if 8 is equal to 2 plus 6, then the same thing happens backwards. 2 plus 6 is also equal to 8. The transitive property. If one quantity equals a second quantity, then the second quantity equals the third quantity, and the first quantity equals the third quantity. Blah, blah, blah. That's what I hear. Here's in symbols. For any numbers A, B, and C, if A is equal to B, and B is equal to C, and C, then A is equal to C. And here's the numbers, and I can read it to you, but what it really means is if Johnny is the same age as Elizabeth, and Elizabeth is the same age as April, then Johnny and April are also the same age. So it's just kind of like a tiered system. Substitution property. If any quantity may be substituted, it is equal for any expression. So all this means is if n equals 11, then 4n is equal to 4 times 11. So just like taking something and plugging it in like you have in the past. If you have something in parentheses, say we have 3 plus 4 in parentheses, and you replace that with 7, that's using substitution. Then we have the additive identity. All the additive identity means is that if you add 0 to a number, you still have that number. So 2 plus 0 is 2, 0 plus 2 is 2. And the additive inverse is something similar. It means that if you have a number and you add the opposite of that number, you get 0. So 3 plus negative 3 is 0. Or 4 minus 4, or let's say negative 1 plus positive 1, that's 0. So when you have a negative of a number and a positive of a number, they cancel each other out and they make 0. So multiplication, that has its own identity, and you use this all the time. Any number times 1 is the number itself. So 14 times 1 is 14. 1 times 100 is 100. Multiplicative property of 0. So this means anything times 0 is 0. 9 times 0 is 0. 10 times 0 is 0. Anything times 0 is 0. And the multiplicative inverse, you've also seen this in the past. We use this when we do reciprocal. So if we have a over b and we multiply that by b over a, it's 1. Or for example, if you're looking at numbers, if we take 4 over 5 and we multiply that by 5 over 4, really you multiply across the top and get 20, and multiply across the bottom and get 20, and those are equal to 1. So it's kind of like a cross multiplication thing, and it all cancels out and makes 1. Okay, evaluate this expression. So we're going to do this just like we've done in the past. You're using PEMDAS. So realistically, the first step will be to take care of this 12 minus 8 in your parentheses, and then we'll take care of this one next. So first, we want to get rid of that 12 minus 8. So 12 minus 8 is actually 4. We're going to replace it with 4. So that's using substitution. The next step is we're going to get rid of these set of parentheses. So I'm going to get rid of that 15 divided by 5 first. 15 divided by 5 is 3, so I'm going to replace it with 3, and I use substitution. And it keeps going on and on like this. Now I have 3 minus 2. I'm going to replace that with 1. I've used substitution. Okay, this one's a little different. So if you look back, the next step is actually to take 3 times 1. This one's not substitution. When you take 3 times 1, you get 3. You're actually using the multiplicative identity because 3 times 1 is equal to, or any number times 1 is equal to itself. And then the last step, we're going to take this 1/4 and we're going to multiply it by 4, which is actually its reciprocal. So we're using the multiplicative inverse, and we get the answer of 1. And then last step, we have 1 plus 3, and we're going to use substitution, replace that with 4. So you can go ahead and evaluate this. To make this video shorter, I put a quick little brain pop on the commutative property up there too, and I've done the same with the associative property. These charts will be on your worksheet, but you can just pop into the brain pop video and they'll explain that for you there. Okay, I just want to go over the worksheet really quick. So this is the worksheet that we're going to be doing. I put the charts right on here for you, and I gave you some examples of what's going on. So what's going to happen is they're going to give you exercises where you have to evaluate the expression. So you're going to evaluate like normal, and then I want you to go through and just label your steps. What did you use? Substitution, multiplicative identity. So just go back up here to this chart and check that. And then the same thing on the second page. There's only 4 problems on the first page. Same thing on the second page. I gave you a little chart on commutative and associative, and then you are going to do these exercises, and you're going to do the same thing down here. So you're just going to evaluate like normal using PEMDAS, and then you'll go back in and name the properties in each step. And then when you're done, you can submit it to the assignment Dropbox on Google Classroom, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Enjoy your weekend.